Hi Fantastical people! Today I'm going to show you how I paint my Fantastical Quilt Coloration Blocks. I'll also be showing you what paints I use and other items I use. Everything will be listed in the description below. This is my Hawaiian Flowers quilt using the Hawaiian Flower blocks. They were all hand painted. I quilted around the parts and the lines of the flowers to give them added dimension, and then put them into a finished quilt. And here's my all-together quilt using the all-together blocks, doing it the same way. I used pigments and a medium to get the vibrant colors. It's really easy to do, and you don't need to be an artist to achieve a great look. So, let's get started. This is how the Fantastical Quilt Coloration Blocks come to you. They're printed in black and white, like a coloring book. The fabric is 100% cotton and comes to you on a 1-yard piece of fabric. Each block is approximately 15 inches by 15 inches. You will cut them apart, leaving white fabric borders on all sides. Once you cut your flowers apart, you'll need to stabilize them for painting. What I use is a lightweight Pellin interfacing called 821 or 820. Either will work. What I like about it, it doesn't stick forever to the flower blocks, and I have used the same piece of Pellin interfacing for all my paintings. Here's what you do. You cut a piece of interfacing about the size of your block. Then iron the interfacing to the back of your block using a hot iron. As you can see, it is not permanent. Next, tape down each corner of your block onto the work table. If you want to place paper under your block, that's fine. Make sure it's nice and smooth. I just use painter's tape. It works really well. Once you get everything taped down, you will have a nice painting surface. The paint should not leak through the interfacing. Let's paint! The paints I use are Derwent Inktense blocks. I have the 36 block set. They are available online and at art stores. I love them because I can control the intensity of color, I can mix my own colors, and they last forever. This is how the pigment blocks look, kind of like pastels, but these are pigment paint blocks. You will need a small knife to scrape a small amount of pigment to mix the colors. You will also need several paintbrushes of your liking. I always use a white tile as my palette because I can see the colors well, and when I'm done, all I have to do is wash the paint off. As my painting medium, I use Aloe Vera gel. It must be 100% gel. You can find this at Walmart or Walgreens or any drugstore. I use aloe vera gel as my painting medium because it doesn't let the paint run beyond the black lines. If you use water, your paints will run and you'll have one heck of a mess. You can use other mediums for painting, but I like the gel and it's really inexpensive. I think this bottle was less than $2. When using the aloe vera gel, I sit it upside down in a cup or in a jar so it's ready to use, so I don't get a blast of air from the bottle when I add it to my paint shavings. Fine shaved pigments and air don't mix. And then the last thing you'll need is a small jar of water to clean your brush in between colors. You can wipe your brushes on a dry piece of paper towel or rag. To start, we will mix a paint color. Choose your color and scrape a small amount of pigment onto your tile. You don't need much, and the color block will last a long time. Then add a small amount of aloe vera gel on top. take your brush and mix your color so all the pigment is mixed into the gel. Now take your color and fill in the flower block within the lines like a coloring book. It's best not to go over the black lines if you can. They say painting relieves stress. I agree. I find painting these blocks very relaxing. As you can see, that small amount of paint goes a long way because it's pure color. If you get any paint on the black lines, you can scrape it off using your brush end or a toothpick. You can add highlights and shadows while the paint is wet or dry, but I prefer adding the color when it's dry. That way it won't turn into mud if it's too wet. I usually do all one color first. It's the same with the flowers. I paint one color, then add more color on top when it dries. Here I used yellow as the base, then added a light orange on top, then a darker orange, and then a red to get a nice, rich, deep color. Once you get your base done, you can add shadows and highlights. With these paints, if you make a mistake, let it dry and paint over them. They're very forgiving. And here's my finished hibiscus. And here are my other finished Hawaiian flowers. The bird of paradise, the orchid, the protea. Use your imagination to create something very unique. I quilted each flower along the black lines and also quilted along the stripes and designs. I added beads and yarns to give them dimension. There's so much you can do with these Hawaiian flowers. All the items I used to paint the blocks are in the description below. I hope you give my Hawaiian flowers blocks and my altogether blocks a try. This is Michelle. Thanks and bye.